right, guys, welcome back to Original Greatness. I am your host, Joseph Martin, and if you are new to the channel, I appreciate you for tuning in. All right, this week has been, as usual, an adventure, personally and professionally, and we made it. We made it to another late night live. I hope you guys had an awesome week, productive, learned a lot last time we had this wonderful show. And I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers and all the people who have viewed, liked, commented, and shared. It's been very helpful to the channel and exciting. It's growing at an extraordinary clip and pace, and I'm excited for it to keep going because we gotta go. We gotta go to get as many subscribers as possible. But along that way, we have milestones of accomplishments we are trying to, and we are going to achieve, and that is 500 subscribers, and then our monetization minimum requirement, which is 1,000 subscribers. So things are going really well with that. Today, with the Jim Rohn reaction, I think you guys are really going to be excited, because I know I am at least, about where we are in the seminar. So this time I went ahead and I got some ideas about what we're going to go over, and I'm prepared for where he's going to take us during this clip of this seminar. And after actually looking at where we are with the seminar, we're doing like an hour every week. And because I'm giving my take and I'm doing these introductions, it seems like we're only doing like a half hour to 40 minutes of the video. We like taking baby steps through the thing. So I really don't know how long it's going to take us to get through this seminar. So if you are impatient and you want to get ahead of us, that's cool. Go ahead and go in the description of the video and click on the original video and watch the seminar all the way through. I recommend that you watch it repetitively anyway. Repetition is the key. You need to listen to it over and over again. It's not just about the advice that he gives you that you take action on. It's also about repetitively hearing great information and getting it deep inside your psyche to where you're thinking about it. You're churning on it. You're chewing on the food for thought. You ain't just swallowing it. You're chewing on it. You're meditating on it. You're sleeping on it. You're letting it sink in. And then that's going to help stick. So you want to listen to it over and over again. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let us get started. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Oh, I got scared. I thought the mic wasn't on. All right, let's put the welcome to the channel back up, and let's get the video going. Yeah, all right. A little technical difficulty, but that's okay.
On the spinning planet the last 6,500 years. Let me describe it for you in one sentence. Here's human history in one sentence: opportunity mixed with difficulty. That's about as simple as you can put it. And opportunity mixed with difficulty isn't going to change.
Okay, I was a little worried because I'm trying to make sure that I can pause the video real quick when it's time for us to do what we need to do. So that was a quick little test. Let's get back to it.
Change. The man says, well, if it isn't going to change for the future, if it isn't going to change in the 90s, how will my life ever change? Answer: when you change. And if you will change, everything will change for you. Your bank account will change, your income will change, your future will change, the ability to acquire your dreams will change. It'll all change if you will change.
You got to change first.
And now let's go through the scenario of the seasons. Life and business is like the seasons. Let's cover them. Here's number one, major lesson in life to learn. Learn how to handle the winters.
Yes, absolutely.
You say, well, Mr. Rohn, a lot of this stuff is fairly obvious. That's true. Just need somebody like me just to come along and remind us. This is what this is called today, a reminding session. I got no new truth for you to discover. This is all old stuff. We just need to hear it again.
Don't expect it to be difficult.
Somebody get on our case a little bit, right? We all need that.
You just need to do it.
Here's number one lesson. Learn how to handle the winters. That's obvious. The winters come right after falls. And pray tell how often?
All the time.
Every year, according to written history, for the last 6,500. To cross your fingers and say, I hope it doesn't come. I'm telling you, we call that naive.
Okay, now let's talk about this. In Michigan, we know, we don't know when, but we got a good idea of when the snow is coming. It's coming. It might be a little delayed sometimes. Sometimes we don't even get snow till Christmas or later, but we know it's coming. And I am telling you, even though we know even though we know that the snow is coming, we will wait until the snow actually hit the ground to go to the store to buy some salt. We wait till the last minute. And the thing with waiting till the last minute, knowing doggone well you're going to need some salt during wintertime, is that since we waited to the last minute, all of the cheap salt is gone. So all the salt that's left at the store is usually the salt that's so expensive, people rather just slip and fall. They'd rather just slip and fall than pay what they trying to charge for that ice. It's almost like it's industrial or something. Some big crazy pallet of ice. They like, man, forget this. I'll just deal with it. Well, my point of that is that prepare ahead of time. Don't be like the average person. The average person waits till the last minute. You don't want to be the average person. You want to be the person that's buying the cheap salt and loading up on it while nobody's thinking about it because ain't no snow on the ground. But you taking advantage of the fact that you know the snow is coming. You don't know when it's going to snow, but you know it's coming. And because you did what you were supposed to do, you're going to be prepared for it. You don't have to worry about it being sold out. And when you need it the most, they won't have it. You want to get ahead of it. So that metaphor or that analogy that he's explaining with the seasons is don't be naive. You know that winters happen, fall happens, spring happens, summer happens. Act accordingly when you're in those seasons.
Now there's all kinds of winters. Not just the winter of the season, but there's all kinds of winters. Winter time, the down time, the discouraging time. One writer called it the winter of discontent. The winter when you can't figure it out, the winter when it all goes wrong. Economic winters, social winters, political winters, and personal winters. When your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces,
your heart
the nights are unusually long. It's called winter time. Barbara Streisand sings, it used to be so natural to talk about forever, but used to be's don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till we sweep them away. You don't sing me love songs. You don't say you need me, and you don't bring me flowers anymore. A song of winter. But hey, we're acquainted with all those winter scenarios. We've been through them all. Now the question is, what do you do about the winters? Well, you can't get rid of January by tearing it off the calendar. But here's what you can do with the upcoming winters of your life. The long ones, the short ones, the easy ones, the more difficult ones. Here's what you can do. Get wiser and stronger and better. Just make a list.
Okay, now, if you're new to what we do on Wednesdays, or what we do with the Late Night Live, we take notes. And this is an excellent example of a great time to take notes. He said, wiser, stronger, and better. And he was saying this based on the seasons are going to happen. Wintertime is going to come. Some winters are going to come with blizzards and avalanches and snow days, and some of it's just going to be light enough to just say that it snowed, but you know that winter is coming. So since you can't change those or stop those, what you can do in the meantime is work on yourself, so when the winter does come, or those seasons come of difficulty, you'll be wiser, you'll be stronger, and you'll be better. So let me give you a quick analogy of this. If you go to the gym and you try to lift 50 pounds, and when you first start going to the gym, it's extremely difficult for you to do it, or you can't do it. But you go to the gym over time and you keep working out, and eventually you're able to lift that 50 pounds and it becomes easy or easier. Here's the kicker. The weight didn't change. You did. You became stronger. You became better. So the change happened in you. So the difficulty isn't really the thing you have to take care of, like the challenge or the issue. The level of difficulty comes from the person going up against that challenge. For one person, it might be easy, and for another person, it might be hard. It's the same problem. Problem ain't really different. It's easier or harder depending on who's taking care of that issue or that problem.
To that trio of good words: wiser, stronger, and better. To challenge for yourself the upcoming winters of your life, don't you think you could read more? Pick up the scenario, pick up the books.
Read more.
Pick up the cassettes. So I would put some stuff on cassettes so you can listen to it. Put it in books so you can read it. Now putting it on video so you can see it. I'm telling you, anybody that wants to can get wiser. Next is stronger. Anybody can get stronger. If you're willing to do the push-ups, you can get stronger. If you're willing to put yourself through the paces, you can get stronger.
Absolutely.
Can you develop stronger skills? And the answer is yes. Start practicing, practicing, practicing.
Yeah.
And you can get stronger. Can you get stronger in handling life situations?
I know I need to do something.
But you got to go to work on yourself. You can't blame out there wishing it was easier. Wish you were stronger. And here's the last one: get better. Anybody can get better. Language, we can all get better.
You're going to get it together.
I've been lecturing now for 33 years, and I'm telling you, today versus 33 years ago, I'm better. First time I gave a talk, I stood up, my mind sat back down. I mean, you know, I've been through that whole deal. Opened my mouth, nothing came out for a while. My knees are banging together, the sweat's pouring off my face. I'm shaking like a leaf. It's called terror, in case you haven't tried it. Those first attempts.
Public speaking,
but I'm telling you, I got through it, and I did it again, and I got through it, and I did it again, and I got through it.
It's actually fun once you get.
And now, of course, I can lecture for a few hours in one day. Anybody can get better. Develop the skills. Okay? Handle the upcoming winters. Don't wish away the winters. That's called naive. Wish for the skills. Wish for the strength. Wish for the wisdom.
Wish to be better.
Here's the second major lesson in life to learn. Learn how to take advantage of the spring.
Okay.
Uniquely enough, spring follows winter. And pray tell, how often?
All the time.
6,500 times. I mean, those are good odds. I'd gamble on it one more time. I mean, those are good odds. Every time. You can't beat those odds.
All right, Coach. So let's discuss taking advantage of the springs. What he means by that, or what I got from it and things that I've learned on my journey, is that when things are good, they actually really good. You're doing great. You got more than enough. So when that income is coming in, when you have those times where you're getting chunks of money coming, tax return, an inheritance, whatever it is, when you get those chunks, you set a portion of it, aside. Because you know that it's going to be times like winter and fall where money's not coming in like that. So the money you saved or the resources you set aside when things were going great, you have those left over in the reserves to be able to handle the winters and the falls, and for them to make them a little bit easier to deal with. You're not trying to figure out, well, how I'm gonna do this and how to, oh man, I'm glad I did this while the springs was here. I'm glad I did this while the summers was here. I'm glad I saved up this. I'm glad I saved up that. I'm glad I stored this away and did this. So that way, cause you know they're gonna happen, you know it's gonna come, you'll be prepared. So that's what he means by taking advantage of the springs. When they come, make sure you put some stuff away.
Spring is called opportunity. Another day is called opportunity. Days follow nights. How about that? And how often? Every day.
Day.
But now here's what we must learn to do with opportunity. Underline 2 strategic words in that sentence. Take advantage. Just because spring comes is no sign you're going to look good in the fall. You got to take advantage of it. You got to do something with it.
Right.
Read every book you can on what to do with your springs, what to do with your opportunities, what to do with your days, what to do with your chances. Don't miss the educational process. Don't miss the process of learning. To understand, opportunity keeps coming, but the key is taking advantage, taking advantage. Everybody in this room's got to learn to do one of 2 things. Plant in the spring or beg in the fall.
You heard what he said. Got to plant in the spring or beg in the fall. Now, why would you be begging in the fall? Because you didn't take advantage of making sure you planted and got as much as you could get out of the springs while they was here. So when the fall and the winter happen, you begging and try to make ends meet. You stressing, you struggling, because you trying to figure out, how am I going to get through this? And when things was going good, you didn't plan for things going bad, knowing that they happen. Shame on you.
And it doesn't mean you can't become a sophisticated beggar, but you don't need the reputation. Learn to plant in the spring, take advantage. And there's an urgency here on springtime because there's just a few springs, handful of springs offered to each of us. So take advantage swiftly and quickly. Don't just let the time pass. The Beatles wrote, life is very short. And for John Lennon, it was extra short. For Michael Landon, it was extra short. But life is short. At the longest, it's short. So don't just let the springs pass. Take advantage.
And this whole thing with life being short, when you understand that you cannot get your time back, you should start operating from a place where you are really careful not to let people waste your time. You are really aware of your clock. You operate with a sense of urgency. How can I be more efficient with what I'm doing? How can I save myself time and effort? Not in a way where you're diminishing the quality of what it is you have to do, but just getting a lot faster and efficient with doing something. It shouldn't take all day to do certain stuff. As long as you're getting that task done to the best of your ability, why not also do it at a fast pace, as long as it's not at the expense of reducing the quality of the work you're doing? You should be operating with a sense of urgency because, like he said, you don't know when the falls or the winters are going to happen. Like the luxury of life with seasons is that we know just about how many months each season lasts. But with life, the way things come and go and happen and shift, you don't know how long spring gonna last. It may not last 3 months. It might last 3 days, and you might end up with a 3-year winter. So you should operate with a sense of urgency. Respect time. Understand that it's something that you can't get back. And do not let other people waste your time if you can help it. I think the only people that you can almost bet gonna waste your time or put you in some situations where your time is getting wasted is gonna be family. You can't pick and choose your family, but you want to try your best to minimize their ability to do that as much as possible. You need to operate with a sense of urgency, and when things are going good, you need to get the most out of it, because winter is gonna come.
Seize the day, seize the moment, seize the opportunity. That's the key. Springtime. Life is fragile. Life is brief. Elton John sings, she lived her life like a candle in the wind. It's fragile, it's brief. Whatever you're going to do, you got to get at it. Don't just let it pass away. Here's major lesson number 3. In the summer, learn how to nourish and protect. We've got 2 challenges in the summer in the personal development part of our life. And that is become capable and powerful enough in the summer and wise enough in the summer to nourish what's good and defend yourself against what's bad. Nourish and defend. The summertime is an interesting time. It holds the possibility of the promise of harvest time, but it also has the possibility of the threat. Absolutely. Sure enough, as soon as you planted your garden, the busy bugs and the noxious weeds are out to take it. Mm-hmm. And let me give you another word of advice. They will take it unless you prevent it. Mm-hmm. Summertime is an interesting time. Best as I can describe summertime, you got to nourish your values like a mother. Nourish like a mother. Go after the threat to the values you've got like a father.
Okay.
Deal with the weeds. Kill the weeds.
Now let's talk about weeds. I don't know if you ever did any gardening, but I have. For the sake of special occasions, when you're trying to do something special for your lady, in my case, my wife, I buy flowers. I told you I'm aware of my finances. You can call me tight if you want to, frugal, whatever the case may be. But for me to spend $70 and $80 on flowers that she just gonna sit somewhere and they gonna die in a few days, she ain't planting them. I'm like, listen, this money could be better spent for me doing a little landscaping in front of the house and building a garden and putting some seeds in it and doing something like that. And then this is something we can enjoy every season versus just getting broke, spending all this money on this. Man, please. So anyway, in that case, weeds grow faster than flowers. And if you ever tried to pull up a weed, the roots run deep. They run deep, way deeper than flowers. You can snatch a flower up like nothing. Their roots are shallow. A doggone weed, and this is the thing about weeds, besides the fact that they grow fast, weeds effortlessly appear. You don't have to plant them. They just show up. Kind of like problems. You don't plan for problems. Problems just show up. You plan to make sure you can take care of problems when they show up. But you don't plan to have problems. And that's where management comes in. I used to get confused when, I wouldn't say confused. I would say I didn't understand it. I was intrigued by why would businesses put under new management on businesses? It made absolutely no sense to me until I started studying business. Whenever a customer has an issue at a place of business, the manager is the person they talk to. And if that manager isn't able to resolve or fix the issue that the customers have, 9 times out of 10, those customers will never go back to that business. So businesses understand how important managers are, but I don't think the consumer does, like the people that actually use the business. So that sign sounds like an excellent idea for the business owners. I think that's why they keep putting it out there, but it does make a difference. If they're telling you, hey, we under new management, that might give those people who swore they'll never go to that business again to think I might get them another shot. Things might be different. So if you have great management, horrible management, or no management, poor management and no management usually results in chaos. Chaos, you can look at that as weeds. But great management comes with flowers, roses, and anytime weeds appearing, the great management has the ability and the knowledge and care enough to pull those weeds up and to nurture the flowers. Management is intentional. You can tell good management when you go to businesses, and you can tell bad management or no management in certain situations. So management is definitely important.
Nourish the garden and kill the weeds. That's called summertime. What a challenging time. Give life like a mother. Take life like a father. Summertime. You got to deal with the negative as well as the positive. Summertime is a unique, complex mix of positive and negative. Okay. Opportunity and threat. What a scenario of life itself. Opportunity and threat to the opportunity. And you got to deal with both. You got to think positive and you got to think negative. You got to handle what's ever out to threaten you. You got to learn to threaten it back. Summertime. Interesting time. Nourish like a mother. Defend like a father. You got to be like your bloodstream in the summer. Red corpuscles to what? Nourish. White corpuscles to what? Fight. You got to both nourish and fight.
Your white blood cells, they got to fight.
You got to nourish and be vigilant. Okay. White corpuscles think negative. You can't just think positive. We call you naive. Somebody says, well, I've been taught to be all positive. You'll be some kind of freak. You can't be all positive. Thank God for white corpuscles that think negative all day. Guess what white corpuscles are looking for all day?
Infection.
Problems, infection. White corpuscles say, just show me some infection, I'll kill it. Why?
Take care of this.
It's out to kill the body. It's out to kill our chances. It's out to kill our future. Whatever threatens us, we threaten. I'm asking you to take sword to your enemies. Whatever's out to threaten you, threaten your health, you got to threaten it back. Like white corpuscles. Kill what's evil. Nourish what's good. Love like a mother. Hate like a father. Father says to whatever threatens his family, take 2 or 3 more steps toward this family and threaten my family, you'll cease to exist. I'm father. I kill.
I kill.
Don't let the weeds take your garden. Wreck your chances for a good harvest.
Right.
Deal with your enemies in the summer. Called good and evil. The great struggle in life is called good and evil. Tyranny and liberty. Sickness and health. It's the way life is. Tyranny threatens liberty. Takes over Kuwait. Can't have that. If tyranny takes Kuwait, it'll take Saudi Arabia. If it takes Saudi Arabia, it'll take something else.
Take something else. We got to stop it.
Where are we going to stop tyranny? As soon as possible. Lest it take the whole world value. So George Bush draws a line in the sand, consults with its allies, sends 500,000 troops to Saudi Arabia. Finally, Desert Sword, Desert Storm, takes on Saddam Hussein, drives him out of Kuwait. Why? Because it has to be done. The great struggle between liberty and tyranny, the great struggle between evil and good. And you've got to treat your own life the same.
Okay.
Says Saddam Hussein, you can't have Kuwait, can't have Saudi Arabia. Furthermore, we're going to kick you out. Hires Chief White Corpuscle, General Schwarzkopf. Takes care of the matter. I'm asking you in the summer, nourish like a mother. Threaten whatever threatens you like a father. Now you can also turn around the scenario, that's true. Love like a father, hate like a mother.
Like a mother.
Give life like a father. Take life like a mother. You can turn the scenario around. The key is both love and hate. Single parents have got the greatest challenge.
Okay.
Love like a mother, hate like a father. Love like a father, hate like a mother. Nothing more dangerous than an angry mother.
That's an angry mother.
Beware the female species of the animal. They call her Black Widow spider. Why? Because when she finishes, there is no male spider. I saw this article. I was flying on an airplane up in Canada. I saw this article in one of the airplane magazines. Showed a picture of this guy with his shirt off, these claw marks down his back, teeth marks in his neck. The guy almost got killed. He was out in the woods, saw a mama bear with her little cub. Said, "Oh, this looks cute." Had his flash camera, went flash, took a picture. Mama bear treats it unkindly, promptly chases him. Caught him, almost killed him before they got to him. Beware mama bear. So, love like a father, hate like a mother. However you want to treat this scenario, it's very important. It's called summertime. Part of the personal development challenge is to be challenged to learn to nourish all of your values, from a garden to a family relationship, to a love affair, to a marriage, to a business, anything that's valuable to you called equity. You got to nourish it, you got to feed it, you got to take care of it, but you've also got to defend it. It's called the way things are. Key. In the summer. Now here's number 4. Fourth major lesson in life to learn. In the fall, in the harvest. Learn to reap in the harvest.
Okay.
Without complaint.
Without complaint.
Important part of personal development. Reap in the harvest without complaint. Take full responsibility. Once you've learned this scenario, it's not the seed, it's not the soil, it's not the sunshine, it's not the rain, it's not the miracle of the giving of life, it's not the seasons that's to be criticized. We must take personal responsibility. So in the harvest, take personal responsibility. It's your crop. Whatever you've reaped, it's your crop. Take responsibility. No.
What do you mean by no complaint? You say reap in the harvest with no complaint. That's an analogy or a metaphor for whatever's available during harvest is your results. If you don't have crops or you don't have enough, that's your fault. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. You didn't plant enough. You didn't protect it. You didn't nourish it. All the stuff he was talking about before. If your harvest is limited, it's because of you. So don't complain that it's not enough. Put that energy of the complaining into making sure that it's enough next time. That's what he means by reap in the harvest without complaint.
No complaint. And here's the next one. No apology. The best of human maturity is no apology if you've done well. And no complaint if you haven't. Knowing that that's where the answers lie, within, and then without, in the miracle of the possibilities that we have to work with. Those are the 4 major lessons in life to learn. Let's talk about some more parts of personal development. Here's the first one. Physical.
Okay.
The physical side. Got to take care of yourself. Do not neglect to take care of yourself. Good phraseology used in the Bible, in my amateur way, but let me put it to you best I can. Here's what it says. Treat your body like a temple. That's a good phrase, good suggestion. A temple meaning something you take extremely good care of. A temple. That's a good phrase. Treat your body like a temple, not a woodshed. A temple, a temple. Take good care. It's the only place you've got to live currently. The temple. Nutrition. My mother studied nutrition, passed it along to me, passed it along to my father, my children, my grandchildren. What a legacy that was. Learning to just take care of yourself. Key phrase. Some people don't do well because they don't feel well. They've got the gifts, they've got the skills. Maybe they just haven't taken care of themselves. They don't have the vitality. Key phrase. Vitality is a major part of success. Vitality. So take care of yourself. I know a guy that raises racehorses. I'm telling you, the guy feeds his horses better than he feeds himself.
That's crazy.
He's so careful how he feeds his horses. He's so careful what they eat. He's so careful that they get everything.
He treat the horses better than he treat himself.
And because of that extreme care, I mean, these are magnificent animals. They can run
That's
like the
crazy
wind.
business, bro.
But you ought to see this guy. 10 steps up a flight of stairs, and I mean, he's all out of breath. His horses can run like the wind, and he can hardly make it up the steps.
I'm telling you.
The guy takes care of his animals better than he takes care of himself. Some people feed their dogs better than they feed their kids.
Sad, bro.
Physical. Now, there's all kinds of parts to physical. Here's one. Appearance is part of the physical.
Yes. 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 Listen, let me tell you about appearance. Your confidence could be, if you struggle with confidence, you investing a little time and money in your wardrobe, getting a haircut, getting your hair done, working on your appearance is a great way to boost your confidence. I'm not sure if you've seen that video where I was talking about them Chip Ahoy cookies. But I had on a $13 hoodie from Walmart and I felt like $1,000,000. So I know investing a little bit in yourself, looking clean, looking good. And listen, expensive don't mean you look good. It doesn't have to be expensive. You just have to look good wearing it. Coordinate. Like Eddie Murphy's friend on Boomerang. When the dad came in there, John Witherspoon, coordinate. You got to coordinate. Got to coordinate. Just put it together. Make it look nice. Ain't nobody worried about no brand and no price tag and none of that stuff. And believe it or not, some people millionaires and you don't even know it because you expecting it to show up in the car they drive and the clothes that they wearing. And it's some millionaires that just drive something comfortable. They'll drive a used car that somebody leased and paid top dollar for the first 2 years and then cash out on that car used, certified, the car good, 2 years later because it's cheaper. And wearing clothes from Walmart, secondhand stores. They go into secondhand stores in like fancy neighborhoods and things like that. You go to a high-end area in secondhand goods stores and they cleaning up. Because they're putting their money to work somewhere else. They're not spending their money on trying to impress you by their appearance, price tag wise. They clothes nice, clean, they fit, and that's just enough to keep your confidence up. To have your head up, have you smiling, you feeling good because you looking good. So yes, people judge you by how you look and how you carry yourself.
Never have a second chance to make a first impression. Physical side. And here's some of the best advice on appearance I can give you. Comes from ancient script again. It says, God looks on the inside, people look on the outside. Isn't
people are
that
superficial?
Good information. Now you say, well, people shouldn't judge you by how you look. Well, let me give you a clue. They do. They do. You can't deal in these shoulds and shouldn't. You'll be tipped over the rest of your life. Now, of course, when people get to know you, they'll judge you by more than what they see. But at first, they're going to take a look.
Absolutely. You look like a bum, might treat you like a bum.
So, here's the best advice I can give you. Make sure the outside is a major reflection of what's going on
the inside.
The physical side. A few minutes a day, stay healthy. A little bit of nourish, a little bit of study on nutrition, stay healthy. Key. Now here's the next part of personal development, the spiritual part. Now, I'm an amateur on the spiritual side. I do happen to believe that human beings are more than just an advanced life form. An advanced species of the animal kingdom. I do believe humans are a special creation. That's just my personal belief, and I don't ask you to buy it. But here's what I do ask you to buy. If you do believe in spirituality in any manner, here's my best advice. Study it and practice it. Do not neglect your values. Do not neglect your virtues. If you do believe in spirituality, my advice is study it and practice it. Don't let it go unstudied. Don't let it go unnourished, if you do believe. That's my best advice on the spiritual side. Now here's the third part. The mental side.
Make sure we're taking notes.
Part of this personal development challenge is to develop mentally. Learn, study, grow, change. It's what schooling is all about. And the human development takes time, incredible amounts of time. That's why we've taken the time for this seminar. It just takes time. Some things you can't cover in a 20-minute speech. You can't cover in a little 5-minute talk. It takes time. For humans, it seems like more time than any other life form, human beings.
Because we hard.
The little wildebeest in Africa.
We stubborn.
Guess how much time it's got as soon as it's born to be able to run with the pack so it doesn't get eaten by the lions? Guess how much time it's got? A few minutes. As soon as the little wildebeest is born, tries to stand up, falls down, its mother nudges it, gets it to stand back up, falls back down.
Can you imagine
Finally on
having
little
to walk
shaky
as soon
legs,
as you was
it tries
born?
to nurse. Mother pushes it away. She moves away, so it can't nurse. Why? You can't nurse now. You got to develop some strength now. The lions. Falls down, gets back up, tries to nurse. Mother pushes it away. No. You got to get these legs strong. How much time have we got? Not much time. Mama Wildebeest says, not much time.
You got to get up now.
Not hours,
you about
not
to get
days, minutes.
Minutes.
Wow. But the human baby, wow. After 16 years, we're not sure. Right? Unbelievable
Doggone
amount of
teenagers.
time it takes.
I love my kids, but I had to tell you this real quick. My 12-year-old, man, I've been on him with his chores nonstop for about 2 years. I know he's been doing it well over a year. That boy act like every time he go in that kitchen, that's his first time seeing a dish, and he had no clue where it go. He been doing it for over a year. He been doing it for over a year. It drive me crazy. He act like he's starting over, like Groundhog Day, the Groundhog Day movie. Every time he walk in that kitchen, he act like that's his first. When it's time for him to do his chores, he act like he just got on Earth that day. That's his attitude. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Boy, you need some patience when it comes to anything dealing with your family and people, boy, I tell you.
So it does take time for personal development. It does take time for spiritual development, physical development. But here's also what takes time, and that's your mental development. Feeding the mind. Nourishing the mind.
Absolutely.
Some people read so little, they got rickets of the mind. They couldn't give you a good, strong argument as to their own personal beliefs. Here's one of the challenges we've got as parents, and that is to get our kids ready to debate the major life issues of the 90s. They've got to get ready to debate. We've spent this last couple of decades debating communism. Communism taught capital belongs in the hands of the state. We've been teaching, no, capital belongs in the hands of the people. Communism taught people are too dumb and stupid to know what to do with capital. You got to take capital away from all the dumb, stupid people and give it to the all-knowing, all-wise state. And let the state run everything and let the people meekly show up for their work assignment. All glory to the state, communism taught. Kid says, well, is that right? No, all glory to the people.
Not.
Let the state be the servant of its people, not the people be the servant of the state.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, you got to be able to pick up those ideologies. You got to be able to pick up the philosophy. And here's the next part. You got to be able to defend it. If you can't defend your virtues and if you can't defend your values, I'm telling you, even in the 90s, you'll fall prey to philosophies that are not in your best interest. And we've got to help our teenagers, we've got to help our kids especially to be able to debate the major life issues, the political issues and the social issues and the religious issues and the spiritual issues and the nutritional issues and the economic issues and all of the rest of the issues that are valuable for us to build the kind of equities we want. You got to get yourself ready. And one of the ways you got to get ready is not just physical and not just spiritual. You got to get ready mentally.
Mentally.
And this is where Shof went to work on me.
Sound.
To be ready mentally.
Got to know what you're talking about.
To develop the philosophy and also be able to defend your virtues and your values. Let's go through it. You need a good library.
Here we go. This is the best part. Buckle up. This is the best part. Now, if you didn't watch all of these reaction videos up to now, this is where your notes is going to mean the most to you. We finally about to start getting into the books. So get ready to get your life together with the right information to be able to start reading this literature. Let's go.
Shof got me started on my library. Here's one of the books he recommended. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich. Shof said to me, doesn't that book and title intrigue you? Think and Grow Rich. Don't you have to read?
Yes. Think and Grow Rich. Now, check this out. Two editions of the book, totally different. One of them has a co-author by the name of Dennis Kimbro, African-American black gentleman. Napoleon Hill understood that psychology played a huge role in people's ability to obtain wealth. One of the things about the psychology is you're more likely to do something if you can relate to someone else you see doing it. So if you don't see somebody you can relate to doing something, psychologically, you might believe you can't do it. So one of the things that we have psychologically in our belief systems is that if this person isn't the same nationality, race, or ethnicity as I am, then I can't accomplish what they accomplish. Napoleon Hill understood that. So he made sure he co-authored with the African American to have a version of the book for African Americans so they could improve their financial situation as well and build wealth.
Read that book, Think and Grow Rich. I said, yes, sir. By Napoleon Hill. I went and found that book in a used bookstore. That's where I had to start. In a used bookstore. I paid less than 50 cents for it. I've still got it. It's one of the rare hardback covers. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Wow, Shof was right. Get a library started. It'll change your life. Any home over $200,000 has got a library. Why do you suppose that is?
Now, when I heard him say this, I like watching those videos where they give you tours of these very expensive homes. When this seminar came out, he said $200,000 homes. If you calculate inflation, I'm sure that price tag on that home is higher than that. I wish I had did it before we took this video. Before we shot this video, I wish I had did it. Guilty as charged, I didn't. But let's say any house above 500,000 should have a library or will have a library in it. But I've noticed that what he said was absolutely true, because the homes that I watch on these fantastic luxury Hamptons, all of these luxury expensive homes always have offices and libraries in them. And success leaves clues. So people that have homes that's very expensive, they spend a lot of time reading.
Wouldn't that make you curious? How come every home over $200,000 has got a library? Does that tell you something? Does that educate you at all? You say, well, I can't afford a $200,000 home. It doesn't matter what size home. Take your present apartment, clean out a closet, call it your library, and start acting intelligent.
Start acting like it. Just act.
And start this process like I did. Start developing a library.
Okay.
Here's what your library needs to show: that you're a serious student
Absolutely.
of health and life, spirituality, culture, uniqueness, sophistication, economics, prosperity, productivity, sales, management, skills,
we gonna get into some
values
reading, guys.
of all
I got some
kinds.
stuff
Let your
for
library.
you. Just like we doing this late night live, I'm gonna be doing lives called Study Group Live. So I'm announcing it right now. I finally got a lot of these things behind the scenes that I needed to get in order for me to free up some time throughout the week for me to do this. I plan on doing a study group live a few times a week, but it's not going to be scheduled because my personal life is so random. I don't want to miss scheduling doing something. That's why we doing late night lives on Wednesdays. I thought that I don't believe anything crazy gonna happen at 11 p.m. on Wednesday in the middle of the week. So I'm gonna do that consistently and schedule that. So what I'll try to do is try to post the study group lives maybe 3 hours ahead of time, 2 hours ahead of time, maybe something like that. But most of the time they just gonna be random. So you can check on the channel and see when I'm live and see what it is. And then during those study group lives, it'll be a certain book that I'm working on reading. And that way you can read along with me. You can read along with me on whatever book that you need to work on or you need to finish reading.
Very show you're a serious student. Don't be casual in learning. Don't be lazy in learning. Okay. Information is the key. Okay. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Learning is the beginning of health. Learning is the beginning of prosperity. Learning is the beginning of democracy, the beginning of freedom. All values, all virtues start with the learning process. So don't be lazy in learning. Don't be lazy in gathering the library that'll teach you and instruct you. And I got that book, Think and Grow Rich. Some of the ideas in that book inspired me no end, helped me to change my life. Now, it's got some weird stuff in it.
Yeah,
it's got some weird stuff. Napoleon was weird, so you gotta separate out a little of this weird stuff, but you can do that. You can separate out the weird stuff, okay? Unless you're weird, just do the weird stuff.
Weirdo,
anyway,
just do it.
Remember, don't be a follower, be a student.
Be a
That's
student.
the key to all books. Don't be a follower, be a student.
Be a student.
Okay. Another book he recommended. Help me become financially independent. We're going to cover that before we finish this afternoon. The book was entitled The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay. By George S. Clason, The Richest Man in Babylon. This book is so good. I got 2 editions of this book. That's my hardcover edition. This is the one I recommend you get. The Richest Man in Babylon with Study Guide by George S. Clason. The reason why I recommend this version is because they actually take breaks in between each chapter and do a review to make sure you get the lessons out of each chapter, because it's in story format. It has characters and they're acting out the principles and the lessons that you need to learn.
George Clason, C-L-A-S-O-N. This little book, The Richest Man in Babylon, I use it as a textbook teaching teenagers how to be rich by 40. living in America. 35 if you're extra bright. Much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. I got rich by the time I was 31, didn't wait till 35. If you find a unique opportunity. So we'll get into that
He was rich
after we
by
come back from our
35.
next break. Richest man.
And I know that this book works because it changed my life. I know it worked. I know it worked.
Babylon. Get your library started. Here are some key sections to put in your library called mental food. In fact, we call it food for thought. It's so important to nourish the mind, not just the body, but nourish the mind. Key phrase. Now it needs to be well balanced.
Okay.
You can't live on mental candy.
Can't live.
Somebody says, well, I just read
candy.
this positive stuff. That's too second grade. You've got to get out of second grade. You can't just be inspired. You've got to be taught. You can't just be inspired. You've got to be educated. Key. Here's a good book. It's called How to Read a Book.
And it sounds so funny.
Good title. How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler. In this book, How to Read a Book, Mortimer, you know, is the chief editor of the new Encyclopedia Britannica. A good set of books, right, to have in your library. The Encyclopedia Britannica, chief editor, Mortimer Adler. He's in his 80s. He's still active, still writing books. I've got several of his books. The 6 Great Ideas, a lot of books. Mortimer Adler. But he wrote this book.
Okay. I got 2 copies of that book because I prefer hardcovers. They're more durable. I paid over $100 for this book. I believe this is a collector's item. It's in the plastic and everything. I know that's going to be worth something. Now, I bought that book also on Audible. I listened to it, but I haven't actually sat down and read through the physical book, but I plan on doing it. So I know that when I sit down and read through an actual book, I get more out of it than just listening to it.
How to Read a Book. Now, in this book, How to Read a Book, not only does he give you some good suggestions on how to get the most out of a book. It's one thing to read it, it's another thing to get the best out of it. He'll give you some techniques on how to get the best out of a book. It's very good. But here's what's also in his book, How to Read a Book, a list of what he calls the best writings ever written.
Okay.
The best writings ever written. I've used it as a centerpiece for my library. So I'm just asking you, take a look. If it suits you, fine. If it doesn't suit you, hey, keep looking until you find something to suit you. But well balanced. Let me give you some of that balance. Number 1, history. We've all got to have a sense of history.
I love
American history,
and autobiographies and history.
National history, international history, family history, political history. We all need a sense of history.
History shows you that the stuff that's new to you is just new to you. It didn't happen before. 9 times out of 10, it didn't happen before. You just didn't know about it previously happening. So every time history happens, it's new to you. So when you get educated on history, you find out it's nothing new under the sun. It's nothing new. You just wasn't aware of it happening before. I love history.
Shortest history lesson. Opportunity mixed with difficulty. No matter how far back you go, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000, 4,000 years ago, I'm telling you, it all reads the same. Once you understand the thread that it isn't going to change, then what's going to change for my life? Answer, looks like I'm going to have to change. History helps us to understand how it is, what there is to work with, seed, soil, sunshine, rain, and what human beings have done with it in the past. And how many of them have, like I did by age 25, they have
messed up.
That's what history's for. Be a good student of history. Here's a good book, Lessons of History by Durant. Lessons of History by Durant.
Excuse me.
This little book is only 100 pages, but I'm telling you, it's so well written, you'll be intrigued, as I was. This little book, Lessons of History by Durant. Next is philosophy. Durant also wrote a good book on philosophy. The Story of Philosophy. It's got a good rundown of the key philosophers of the last several hundred years, what they taught and some of the lives they lived. You might find it a little difficult, but hey, you can't just read the easy stuff. Key phrase to add here in parentheses, don't just read the easy stuff.
Don't just read
you
the
won't
easy
grow.
stuff.
You won't change.
Push yourself.
You won't develop. Tackle the more difficult stuff. Next, novels. Novels are good. Sometimes an intriguing story keeps our attention so that the author can weave in the philosophy he or she is trying to get across.
Okay.
Ayn Rand was probably better at that than anybody else I could possibly think of. Adler, Shrugged, some of those towering novels. The novel kept us intrigued, but guess what she was doing all the time? Feeding us her philosophy, feeding us her philosophy. Now, whether you agreed with her philosophy or not, you had to admit she was really good at getting it out there, weaving it through the story, in the dialogue and in the speeches and in the text. Fabulous. Novels. Novels are good. Now, here's a little personal advice. Skip the trash. I mean, you know. Sometimes you can find something valuable in a trashy novel. I wouldn't go through it to find it. You can find a crust of bread in a garbage can, but I wouldn't go through it. Number one, you don't need the reputation.
You're digging through the trash.
So, not enough time to read the brilliant stuff, the good
Exactly.
stuff.
It's not enough time to read the great stuff, man. Don't waste it on no books like that, man.
Becoming more valuable than you are. Key. Next is biographies and autobiographies, the stories of successful people, unsuccessful people.
What's great about biographies and autobiographies is that we know about this person because they've reached some type of level of success. And when they start telling you their story of everything that happened prior to them reaching that level of success, you start realizing problems are not something that's special for certain people. Everybody deals with issues and problems. It's how you respond to them that separates you. And when you read these biographies, you end up finding out in autobiographies that they probably had an issue or a problem way bigger than whatever you dealing with, and you allowing your issues and problems to stop you from doing anything. And yes, I said anything. Some of y'all not doing nothing because you think your problem is so significant you can't move forward. So read you some autobiographies and biographies so you can see that you ain't the only one dealing with problems, and you can still be successful with having problems or issues.
There's some dramatic stuff, right? Over the last 100 years, it's been written, biographies and autobiographies. Here's one of the best, the Bible.
Absolutely.
The Bible is a unique book because it's got a list of human stories on one side of the ledger, another list of human stories on the other side of the ledger. One's called examples, and the other's called warnings.
Camera acting up. Wait a minute, guys. The camera acting the fool. Is that better? Yeah, okay. Now, I think I held it up long enough for you to see. This is the Life Application Study Bible. I recommend the King James Version, and specifically this Bible. The reason why is because I've seen and talked to people who believe, hey man, none of that stuff is applicable today. I don't know how to use that stuff in my life today. You can't use that stuff. That stuff outdated. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Listen, some of y'all spend too much time wondering if it's fairy tale or not. It's lessons and principles in the Bible, regardless if the story is real or not. The belief is a side note, in my opinion, because you got to make a choice. Either you believe it or not. But setting that aside, the stories in the Bible have a lot of valuable lessons in them. It's not just about if you don't do right by God, you going to hell. That's about the furthest extent most heathens and people that haven't read it for themselves have. If you just, for instance, I read Genesis all the way through. And every time I heard somebody mention Genesis, the very first book in the Bible, most of the time, all they talking about is Adam and Eve, God creating the earth, and them getting kicked out of the garden. And that's about the furthest extent of it. If I'm not mistaken, the book of Genesis has 50 or 60 chapters in it. I don't remember which one. Guilty as charged. But the majority of that book in the Bible is about relationships. It's not about the creation of earth. Out of those chapters in that book, I believe less than 1.5 chapters is about the creation of earth, creation of the world. It's less than a chapter and a half or 3 chapters. All of those other chapters are about relationships. Brothers, sisters, grandfathers, fathers, all about relationships. And if you think about it, that's the majority of what our life consists of, our interactions with people. And it shows you how complicated relationships can be from the beginning of time. So what I got from reading Genesis was how to interact with people. And in the life application version of the Bible, this study guide, they use regular language, regular English, because you got the funny thou and all that other stuff in the actual scripture. But at the bottom, they break it down in regular text and they explain how those verses and scriptures can be applied in real life. So don't worry about starting off on a belief. Don't think about the belief part. And I'm not telling you to believe in God or not believe in God. I believe in him. You got to do your own journey. But I'm telling you that the information in there will help you if you're serious about getting information to grow as a person, to get a better understanding about life, do's and don'ts, discernment. And a really good book in the Bible to help you with that is the book of wisdom, the book of Proverbs. Read Proverbs. It's 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs, and the longest month we have is 31 days. So if you just read one chapter every day, and sometimes double up because every month ain't 31 days, that'll be a good way for you to work on developing knowledge, wisdom, and discernment by getting some of those principles in your mind. Something to chew on, the mental candy that I was talking about. Okay, we've already went past our time. Yes. So we're going to do our review. Let's go to the notes. All right. Let me get back to the top. Okay. Note number 1 that I have is get wiser, get stronger, and get better. Don't wish that it was easier. Don't wish you didn't have any problems. Don't wish that they would go away. Don't wish that they would solve themselves. Problems are going to happen. Issues are going to arise. You are going to make mistakes. And issues, problems, and mistakes are all opportunities for you to learn something and for you to grow. It's an opportunity for you to do better, for you to be better. Now, if you become wiser and you become stronger and you become better, then you'll be better equipped to handle those things when they come up. So don't wish it was easier. Wish you were wiser, stronger, and better. 2, you need to read. You need to learn more. And one of the ways to learn is to read. Great information are in books. I really hate the fact that they're moving towards making everything electronic because it's a trade-off. And one of the trade-offs help you with relationships, meaning that if you carry a physical book around, it's a conversation piece. You walking around with an app on your phone, you look like everybody else when you walking around with your phone and you got a digital app for books and you listening to a book. Listening to a book is not the same as sitting down and reading one. And then you walking around carrying a book. It makes people curious and ask questions. You can open up all types of doors and opportunities just by carrying a book that you're reading with you that people can see and have conversations with people about that. Okay, step 3, well, note 3, take advantage of the springs. So when he was talking about the seasons, when springs happen, maximize them. You get a great job, work as many hours as you can. Milk it for everything you can get out of that job, everything. Because you don't know when they're going to close the doors. You don't know if or when you're going to get laid off. You don't know if something's going to happen to you where you're not going to be able to get as much as you can out of it when the springs present themselves. Because winter is going to come. Fall is going to come. So make the most of your springs. 4, it's an extension of 3. Take advantage of opportunities. But let me tell you what I've learned about opportunities. First, you need to become educated on being able to recognize one. You can't take advantage of an opportunity. You don't even know what an opportunity look like. Which is like you going hunting and you don't know what it is that you hunting. You don't know what it look like. You just say, okay, well, I'm gonna go hunting with you. If I name the animal 9 times out of 10, you know what it looked like. But just imagine if you went hunting and you had no idea what you were after looked like. What's the chances of you getting it right? Slim to none. So first you need to read and learn and educate yourself on what an opportunity is and what it looks like. So now it's hard for opportunity to get past you because you know what to look for. And now that you know what to look for, take advantage of those opportunities. Get the most out of them. All right, 5. In the summer, nourish and protect. Some people spend too much time thinking about what they're building and the positive aspects of everything, and not enough time acknowledging that they have to defend and protect what they build. If I'm not mistaken, I don't remember what video it was, but I explained that when they construct or build a building, the first thing they do is secure the building site. The construction site, they secure it. They put up a fence. The first thing they do is protect it. Before they build anything, they protecting everything. Do not skip the process of also protecting what you're building. Because people are going to be after it. Build it and they will come. Not just good people, but bad people. They're going to be after it. What can they get from it? Everybody don't have your best interest in mind. They might talk a good game or whatever, but you have to be wise enough to be able to tell the difference and be able to navigate through those situations without escalating them or making them worse. So you want to learn how to nourish and protect. Number 6, opportunity and threat. That's an extension of 5. We're just going to leave that at that. You got opportunities and you got threats. When you capitalize on your opportunities, you also want to protect and defend yourself against threats. 7, reap in the harvest without complaint and with no apology. What that means is don't complain if you don't have enough. Not having enough is a consequence of your efforts. It's a reflection of your results. If you didn't do enough, you don't get enough. And then, though with no apology, don't feel bad you got a lot. If you worked hard and you did what you were supposed to do, you're supposed to have more than enough. Don't apologize for being rich or blessed or wealthy or whatever you got. Your cup is overflowing. But it ain't overflowing because you sat around and you had somebody just hand you something or whatever the case may be. If you know you worked your tail off and you did what you was supposed to do, you reap them rewards with no apology. Number 8, take care of yourself. The physical, work out, eat good. That's something my chunky self need to work on. Like you see, I got the weights close. That's a start. You saw me pick it up. It's right here next to me. I promise you I'm going to pick it up from time to time. Now that I got the business stuff pretty much lined up, now I can start working on these other areas I know I need to improve on, which is eating better. I have been taking my vitamins, but now I can start working on physical exercise, doing and what made it so crazy, I had just canceled my gym membership because I was working on my finances. I'm like, man, I don't even go. I'm throwing this money away. And now that I got my business stuff organized and created systems to be consistent, now it would benefit me for me to go to the gym for an hour or two, because now my schedule is more organized and more together for me to be able to take advantage of having a membership without wasting it like I was doing before. Ain't that something? 9, read. Read. One of the best ways for you to get information in here is to read. And I suggest physical books. It's such a trade-off to read. Call yourself reading an audiobook. It's not the same. The fact that it's on something digital, you have so many distractions that come through a tablet or a phone. It's not the same. It's just not. And I'm gonna elaborate on that in a different video, but it's not. Invest in some real books. It's a whole different experience. 10, parenting. Teach your child to be ready in the real world. So we're gonna fix that. 4, and your parenting. Teach your child to be ready for the real world. You are not going to be able to be everywhere your child is going to be. You want to prepare your child to understand everybody ain't going to take it easy on them. Everybody ain't going to care for them the way you care for them. You can protect them inside the house, and that's only to a certain extent. But you need to equip them and prepare them for the real world in the controlled environment of your home. You babying your child or sheltering your child in your home does not prepare them for the situations that they might encounter outside the home. So I would suggest you also spend some time reading some parenting books. And we got 11 and 12. 11, we just talked about reading. You need a library. You need a library. Jim Rohn really did. Ooh, that's a bad pause on that video I got. He looked crazy on there. Let me show you what I just seen real quick. Ooh, look at his eyes. I looked over to the sky. I almost scared the mess out of me. So, he really got through to me in his message about holding people accountable. When he told people about reading and building a library and they didn't act on it when he first told them, they procrastinated. I didn't want to be one of those people. So I got like over 500 books and I'm still building my library. And I'm way behind on my reading. So that, like I said, that's what I'm going to work on now. And 12, don't just read the easy stuff. The last couple of books, right before he mentioned the Bible, I think he mentioned some other books by Mortimer J. Adler. I didn't get those books. I think I may have purchased the Lessons of History or something like that he mentioned on Audible. And it was heavy. He wasn't lying. It was heavy. So I didn't even get all the way through it. And I don't want to come off like a hypocrite with the Audible. So let me explain. I was working at a plant, and I don't think that Audible books or digital books don't have a purpose. I just don't think that they should be the main way you engage in information. I think you should have two copies. You should have a digital version on the go, and you should have a physical version when you have time to sit still and really digest the information. So the Audible, the digital version of books, I feel like should be a review. It shouldn't be the way you actually get the information in here. It should be the way you keep it fresh. Like you can actually sat through the book and read it, and you listen to the Audible books, or you on the go. So you listen to the Audible books until you had time to sit down, but you couldn't wait because your time is limited. So that's how I feel about that. But I believe we did everything that we needed to do, so we can go ahead and wrap up. And I think we done did it again. We done went past what I really wanted to do. I think we done did this live tonight almost for an hour and 30 minutes. So I am just looking for my clothes, and then we can call it a night, guys. I need to memorize this thing. But I know last time that I did it, I definitely didn't say it right. So here we go. Remember that the school system does not have a monopoly on education, and being educated and informed. I'm looking at the wrong camera. It's late. Let's do this again. Remember that the school system does not have a monopoly on education, and being educated and informed is your own responsibility. So I want you guys to take care. God bless. To all the new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Hope to spend some more time with you guys soon. I'm working as hard as I can to get this stuff out to you. And again, take care and God bless.